Hello, I'm Al Beatty, and welcome to this first in a series of videos on tips and tricks we originally published in Fly Tyer magazine over the years. This one is called Up and Down the Hill. So what does that mean? Well, let's go to the device and find out. Here we've constructed a body for a standard lime Trude. I've used deer for the tail, floss body, peacock on the front part of the body. We're going to be adding a brown hackle and a wing made out of calf tail. I'll set those aside. I've already pre-selected a clump of calf tail, and I'll just stack that and tie it on, and then we're going to show you where many people run into a problem and what the solution might be. First, let's set our wing in place, and we want it to come almost to the end of the tail, but not all the way. Before I move any further, let me show you one other thing. Notice that the thread is hanging in the middle of the bare area in front of the body, about halfway there. That's kind of important. We'll need that. Anyway, let's wrap. And now let's do what many people do, and we'll just cut the hair off. And that creates our next little problem. I want you to notice right here that there's a drop-off. And that drop-off is what we call the hill. And it will cause your hackle to slip. In fact, let me tie the hackle on. And when you get there, that hackle will slip and you'll have a little space there that you didn't want. And we'll show you how to cure that. There's actually a couple ways to cure it. But for right now, let's just... Okay, and we'll start wrapping our hackle forward. And now we're coming up on the hill. And in fact, this is a pretty bad hill, so it will actually slip and leave a gap in. It just slipped on me. Let me tie that off so that we can take a look right there. There. Now what we have right down in here is a little gap where the hackle had slipped on that hill. Now there's a couple of ways to fix that, and one I can show you right now. The other one I'll have to set up and put a different wing on. We've got too steep of a hill created, so what I want to show you is that I'm going to leave my thread hanging not at the front of the hook, but I'm going to back it up so it's hanging at the start of the hill. And then we're going to use the weight of the bobbin to hold the hackle back and keep it from slipping. Now here we come up on the bobbin. Let me make sure I back that up. So there we go. It's hanging right there. So now the bobbin holds the hackle back, keeps it from slipping, and we're going to get a nicely wrapped hackle around this Trude fly. Let me just go ahead and tie that off for a moment. And there you got it. And it's nicely wrapped, and it did not slip because the weight of the bobbin held that from slipping. Now through the magic of video, we've removed the wing, and we're just going to do that wing over, show you a different way to trim it. Let me get my hair out of the stacker. Make sure I don't have any wild hairs there. Okay, good, I don't. And I'll just go ahead and tie this on. And there's two more ways to fix that problem, and we're going to show them to you right now. Okay, now remember before I cut like this from my side of the vise? If I pull that up at an angle and trim from the opposite side of the vise, I get a more slope-shaped cut. And what happens is it tapers down to the hook eye. So that taper will be a little bit easier to wrap over. Okay, and you can just put the hackle on and tie it per normal, just like you normally would. But there's another way of tying that hackle on that will also fix the problem on the hill, and that's that I'm going to tie it on at the front. There we go. And just leave it hanging right there in front of the feather. Now I'm going to wrap the hackle, first going back, leaving some spaces. I better wrap that first by hand. It's just a little bit too long with the camera between me and the vise. Okay, now we're going to get to the back of the hackle application area. We'll call that the hackle platform. And then we're going to wrap forward, filling up those gaps. And that also will keep everything from slipping, and you'll get a nice Trude Hackle application. Now I oversized this hackle so you could better see the placement of each set of turns. Now I'm going to pull the fibers back and wrap a thread head. And get my half-hitch tool. And put on a couple of half hitches. And now I'm going to put on a whip finish using the same tool. And put that away. Trim off the hackle. And now you've got a Trude style hackle that doesn't have any gaps up here in the top. At the top of the hill, if you will. No more slippage. So those are a couple of the tricks of working with the hill.